The opinions expressed by the guests on this podcast are not necessarily those of the hosts or the producers of the show.
Hey, it is your girl, Renee Graziano, back with another episode of the Crysis Queen. And I have the Queen of Queens here with me today, Cosmo, Queen of Melrose.
Thank you. Oh my God, thank you. It was so great meeting you the other day.
Likewise.
We had so much fun in my store.
Absolutely. I know. We got to let everybody know. You have 3 amazing stores.
Yes.
You have the Glam Squad store, and they're all on Melrose?
They're all on Melrose, yes.
When I tell you, the clothes were phenomenal.
No, we had so much fun. And then when I saw Renee walking in my store, I was like, oh my God, I have arrived, Queen, okay? And she walks in all fabulous, honey. And then she's like, I think I'm just going to stay like this today. She goes, you have amazing things. I'm like, oh, really, bitch? You don't even know. And I put this thing on her, and I belted her up in her waist, and she's like,
Yes.
I think I want more.
Yes, it was fabulous. But I would like to, for people to get to know you a little bit more, especially on this podcast, because it's, I'm not here to make light of the trauma, but I am here to make your trauma feel lighter. Mm-hmm. That's how I feel about this podcast. So being we're both in sobriety.
I love that.
Right?
Yes.
So obviously that means we had fallen off at one point.
Yes.
So tell me a little bit about yourself.
A few points.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
More than
I was more
needed
off than on.
Yes,
in
absolutely.
my life. Yeah.
So tell me about it. Tell me about childhood. I'm curious about your childhood.
You know what? I think, honestly, we kind of grew up in the same neighborhoods and the same wise guys in the same way.
What, Mulberry Street?
No, I'm from Harlem.
Oh, from okay.
I'm Harlem.
You grew up with the real gangsters.
On 16 Pleasant Avenue. The Pleasant Avenue.
Rayos.
There's Rayos right there.
Of course, where all the gangsters
Exactly.
hang.
So that's where we're from, you know. But then you're from Mott Street, right?
My father was from Mott Street when he was younger, and then his little clique of friends moved over to like Bath Avenue. And then eventually over to Queens in Howard Beach, where the boss was.
So you're basically my cousin from Staten Island.
Absolutely.
Basically.
Somewhere along the line,
we all
related.
had sauce on Sunday. We were killing each other on Saturday. I was beating my brothers up. And Sunday was like, I love you. Pass the gravy, pass the sausage.
Yes.
You know, so it was very traumatic growing up, like that.
Of course.
With my father like in the mob, and my mother was teasing the hair literally, trying to keep the family together.
Right.
While my father was in the Bronx, who knows, she thought he had a girlfriend, so she was going to the bar on Saturday night, and she was pulling a drita. My mother was actually just kicking. She was beating everybody up,
Okay. Oh,
yeah, because you marry that kind of man.
Hello, I know, I did it, and I was in the bars dragging girls off stripper stages.
Exactly, you know. So that's how we grew up, and we thought it was normal.
Yeah, we all did.
We didn't know. Other families.
They didn't know neither, though.
No.
I think for the sake of it, our parents didn't come with manuals themselves.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's like that forever, you're handing down the vicious
curse.
Cycle.
Exactly.
Yes, the curse is
the
more
family
like
curse,
it.
basically.
Yeah, that's what it is. It is a curse.
Which became a blessing,
Well, if you turn it, or if you have the ability to turn it around and the smarts, you can make it into a blessing.
Right. Yeah.
And that's where we are actually
true.
today. So you have a brother and a sister.
I got a twin brother.
Yes, I met him the other day.
My younger sister, Sophia, who's on Instagram, and everybody thinks she's you.
Get out of here.
They're like, that you put Renee on Instagram. I'm like, no, it's my sister, Sophia.
Oh, I got to check it out.
But she's beautiful like you.
Thank you.
You'll see the picture, cheekbones. So she goes, Cosmo, why is everybody calling me fucking Renee? I'm like, well, it's a compliment because she's beautiful in person.
Wait,
anyway.
she's holding up a picture. Let me see.
There's something on her face. That's Sophia.
Holy shit!
Yeah, she's gorgeous.
Holy shit!
She's also an original mob wife, as you could see. Yeah, gorgeous. That's my little sister.
No, but she looks like me. That's
she looks
weird.
like you. Yes, girl.
Oh, doppelganger. Oh, my God. You got
You got the Italian cheekbones.
There we go.
And
Got it from my mother.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I think you do that in photos, too. You give us a little... Yeah.
Absolutely, I do.
So we are related.
Yes, we are.
Yeah.
Okay, so you have a brother, twin brother, a younger sister,
And then an older brother.
and then an older brother.
Tommy, yes.
Okay.
And we're all 5 years apart.
Oh, wow,
Yeah,
really?
yeah.
Okay. So how was it like growing up? Well, my question is, did you always know that you were gay?
Oh my God. So I must have been 3 years old. And then I was like, I'm going to marry Donny Osmond.
We would have fought over time. Me and you would have fought.
And then I'm going to marry Davy Jones of the Monkees. So I would literally sit at the window and just wait for them to come. And my mother's like, well, who are you waiting for? And why do you have I always had a towel on my head because I had long hair, right? So, and then I would wear my mother's shoes and I would sit by the window. So like,
and wait for Davy Jones and the Monkees.
They're gonna come and marry me.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So they said, like, Cosmo, the question is, when did you come out?
Okay.
Renee, I was never in.
You were never in.
I was never in.
Okay.
Like, it wasn't a decision. I didn't know what gay was.
Right.
I didn't know what faggot was.
Right.
I didn't know what straight was. All I know, I was a little boy. And I was trapped inside a man's body. I was a woman trapped inside a man's body.
Okay.
Yeah. So from the gate.
Okay. So
from the gate.
So then educate me a little bit because I'm a little dumb in certain areas. So I know, like, because when I think of old school gay, I think of my cousin Anthony, who was gay, but he used to love to wear my mother's dresses. But now they have so many pronouns and this and that, and I don't understand it all. So a person that's transitioning, what would you be before you transition?
Pre-op.
No. I mean, like, so the word transvestite. Explain that to me.
Transvestite is somebody that dresses up.
That's my cousin Anthony.
In drag.
Okay.
Even straight men could be transvestites.
Really?
You ever hang out with guys and like they get high and they want to put stockings on and get freaky?
I've never met a
and
man
put a
that
wig
wants
on.
No, I haven't.
Okay.
Thank God, because I've already had my experiences.
Yeah.
But that one I have. Oh, okay. So that was like the boxer that did it, De La Hoya.
Yeah.
Oh.
So they're like a transvestite. They feel the need to put on the stockings.
But they don't sleep with men. They just sleep with women.
They sleep with women.
Oh, okay.
But
I'm
I think they have a little sugar in their tank as well.
Well, I would think if you want to put on my fucking stockings with the line up the back of my leg, there's a problem there.
Right, exactly.
You want to have my hair and my shoes?
And you're not going to suck dick? Come on now. You're missing out. Yeah.
Well, maybe that's what it is.
Yeah.
But I love the fact that you said I was never in. So you know this was you from birth.
Yeah.
Okay. Because there's a lot of...
You know how little boys look at their mommies, they fall in love with the mother's the first love.
First love, right.
They look at their mama's titties, like the little boys, and they like... It's kind of a fact. I don't know if you really think about it.
Yeah,
you have?
I have a son, but my son hugs me like this. He won't even let my chest come anywhere by him. Like if I go to hug him.
No, I'm just talking when he's baby.
Yeah, no. Oh, he was affectionate when he was younger, but
I was fascinated by my mother's titties.
Yeah, no, my son, I don't think so. He was running from me.
She goes, I thought you were going to be straight because you love my tits. And she had nice tits. So, like you, girl, you know what I mean? So my mother had big tits. So anyway, they always say when a boy's young, the first love is their mama. Right. So if they're attracted to women, they're going to be attracted to the mother and fall in love with the mother. You know what I mean? Not an incest weird thing.
Right.
It's just
like my father's my first love, absolutely, but it's not like I love my father like in some
in some incestuous way.
Yeah, hell no.
But it's the first boobs you see.
Right.
And then if you like them, you're attracted to them. You know what I mean?
Right.
So as a little boy, most boys like their mama's boobies or whatever.
Right.
But I would like my mom's boobs. But I would also, every time my father went in the shower. Mm-hmm. So my father was gorgeous. He's from Harlem. Okay. He played baseball with the Mets and everything.
Oh, wow.
Oh yeah, girl.
Okay, so he was a ball player gone gangster?
Ball player gone gangster.
My type of guy.
Yeah, he was hot.
He was good with a bat.
Yeah.
And had a bat. And was batshit crazy.
Yeah. So anyway, very good looking. My mother was gorgeous too, but she was very insecure.
Okay.
She always thought that he was better looking than her. So like in a movie theater, she would like want to hide behind him. You know, we have insecurities.
I'm filled with them.
Dysfunctional. Right. She always thought he was God. But when you see a picture of her, you can whip out a picture if you want. She was gorgeous, but he was good looking, and you know he always had a reputation in Harlem, you know, being this guy. You know, he played baseball and all this stuff. And what happened was, so anyway, when I was younger, I would go every time my father went in the shower, I would have to go in the shower.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
And I'm like, and he's like, why is Cosmo looking at my thing? That's why you're fine. Your father, listen, it's true story. I know these are things that have cobwebs and families don't want to talk about them, but bitch, I'm going to let you have it right now. Well, this is reality. Nothing weird.
Right.
We weren't incest.
Right.
But I was attracted to my father.
Okay.
So every time he went in the bathroom, I would have to go, 3 years old.
Wow.
Right? So here I am wearing towels on my head, high heels. I'm marrying Donny Osmond. I was saving Davy Jones for you, Renee. So we don't fight over them. And basically following my father in the shower.
Okay.
So I didn't make a choice. You know what I mean? Lady Gaga says, you're born this way. I was born that way, girl.
Right.
It's not like I could have changed it.
Right.
When I got, you know, I'm like, Mommy, I'm going to marry him because all my aunts got married. St. Rita's Church in Harlem.
Okay.
You know, they all had the wedding.
Yes.
And the bridesmaids. And that was a big deal to me. And I always wanted to get married that way.
Okay,
Always.
so
That's
to be
a
the
dream.
Bride. Okay.
So I wanted to be the bride, and I thought I was a woman. So basically, it wasn't a choice I made.
Right. It's just you. You were you.
Most gay,
you are you.
Most gay men are born that way.
I do believe that, but I think I also believe, and I hope I'm not offending anyone when I say that, I think old school gay is very different than today. Do you know what I mean? Like, I know about, like, my cousin Anthony. I know it was just... It was so different when years ago. Do you know what I'm trying to say? Like, it was.
Was he your age, Anthony, or was he younger than you?
No, Anthony's now passed away. He was older than me. So my cousin Anthony was.
So it was more in the closet then. He had to hide it.
No, he was outright.
Oh, he was
outright gay.
Oh, he was in the village. I'm coming out.
That's exactly.
Okay.
That's him.
Good for him.
From the Lower East Side, my cousin Anthony.
He lived his life.
He lived his life absolutely as a gay man. He was the only.
Was he like a queen like me?
Yes.
Okay.
But not around my dad. Around my dad, you know, he was less.
Yeah.
But then
out of respect.
Right. But he also, the sad part is his brothers were very abusive because of it. Because, you know, the old school is like, they're going to beat it out of you. And that is what happened with Anthony. And then Anthony he was heavily into heroin as a young person, but he kicked it cold turkey. And he just loved, like, my mother's dresses, and you know what I mean? It was funny though, but he'd go to restaurants. My father would make the reservations for him, and he would show up half in drag, and they'd be like, Anthony Graziano, and everybody would be like, that ain't fucking Anthony Graziano, but he was the only other Anthony Graziano in the family.
Yeah. I totally get it.
So that's what I mean by the difference between back then and now. Yeah. Now I think people just want to be gay for the day. It's just strange. Some people just don't want to be all the way gay. I don't know.
It was always there, Renee. Always.
Okay.
Like, I always had a problem growing up in my neighborhood.
Right.
Because I would always fall in love with these fucking bisexual guys. You know what I mean? And it's like, you know, and like I would think, oh, they're going to be the husband. I'm going to get married. But they were on the fence. You know, I still got to be this for my image, and I got to fuck pussy because, you know, and it's like, it was very confusing for me.
I'm sure that
it was confusing
for anybody.
Because they didn't want to be themselves, you know?
Right. So it's always, you know, that's, I guess, what I'm hitting
So it was always there, but it was more hidden.
Yeah, not like today.
Today it's in your face.
Correct.
I am gay, hear me roar. I'm a drag queen, hear me roar.
Correct.
You know what I mean? And they put it in your face. And you know what? It's great because you know what? It's open.
Right.
And they made bathrooms for transgender.
Right.
You know, and I think we deserve all the rights.
Yes, I also believe everybody should have their own bathroom.
We deserve all the rights, you know. And now it's getting primitive again, and they want to take those rights away.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
See, I don't.
Like the new legislation, you know what I
Oh,
mean?
really?
Yeah.
So I don't know because
Yeah.
I don't do much politics because I don't understand it whatsoever.
Yeah.
But
I don't even like talking politics, but, you know, I am gay and those are my people.
Right,
and I'm
absolutely.
a queen. And I was even going to I was like, damn, girl, I'm so pretty as a fucking bitch. You know, when I was younger, girl, like they would literally call me like Pamela Anderson.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, honestly.
Ooh.
And the power you get, like when you put heels on.
Yeah, oh, absolutely.
Guys open the door for you.
It's a different, yeah.
And they're buying and they're throwing money at you. I loved it. So I was confused, you know, and I was like, am I going to get a vagina? Am I going to get a sex change? I think I'm going to get it. But then I got a therapist and she's like, hold it, before you get these things.
Right.
Before you change your body and cut your dick off.
Right.
She goes, how about this? This is what I see. And I've been seeing her for a long time. Because all the therapists were like, you're a woman trapped inside a man's body. You're a woman trapped inside a man's body.
Right.
But then there's the Cosmo that grew up like mafia.
Right.
You know, so I could be rough. You know what I mean?
Right.
And there's Cosmo, then there's Cosmo like the boy, who I like to play sports and stuff like that, right? So, and then there's Cosmo who likes to dress up as Ginger, right?
Is that her name?
That's her name, girl.
That's her name is Ginger.
Because when I first put my dress on, I had red hair and I look like
love it.
Ginger from Gilligan's
Kids
Island.
I love it.
So they call me Ginger.
Love it.
So I got addicted to Ginger and I thought she needed a pussy. But then I'm like, but I like to use, we could talk, right? Can we talk?
Of course we can talk.
This is the ghost of Joan Rivers saying, can we talk?
Can we talk?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm curious, so please talk.
So
because
I like-
there's so many people
but I'm like-
that are confused.
If I'm going to get a change, I like using my dick.
Okay,
So
there you go. So you
why
need
would
it.
I want to cut that off? You know what I mean?
Oh, that actually is very interesting.
Like it's so pretty.
But it's very pretty penis. We have a pretty penis in the house. Princess Penis.
Yeah,
That's your
right.
new name.
Yeah, Princess Penis.
Princess-
That's another T-shirt.
There you go,
Let's
Princess
do it.
Penis.
Okay, you
There
heard
we
it.
go.
You heard it here
You heard it
live
here.
from Miss Renee, honey.
You
Yes.
try and steal it, we're both coming to visit you. But this stuff is, I find it very fascinating because I want to be able to understand more, knowing that I have, 4 grandchildren. I don't ever want to give them the wrong information.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right,
So
right.
continue, please.
So anyway, I found the right therapist, and like I loved her. You know, when you get attached to somebody, they're good.
Right.
So, and she told me, she goes, you need to embrace, like, these are all your altars.
Right.
She goes, why don't you you're a chameleon.
Right.
Why don't you just embrace them all? And you don't have to change yourself.
Exactly. You can be who you want to be
Right.
in the male body form.
Right. And if I want to put tits on in a dress and look good, I'll do that.
Right.
Because it's not going to change your insides. You know what I mean?
Correct.
So I know so many people that my friends, that did change.
Right.
And they kind of regret it,
Yeah, but you know what? For me,
So you got to really believe you're a woman, and and then like a lot of them, like their penis repulses them. Do you know what I mean?
Really?
So, yeah.
Oh,
So,
I mean, I didn't
believe
know
that's a
that.
true woman that needs the surgery.
Yes, if you don't like your private parts,
Right.
absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely.
So I was like, oh wow, what a fucking relief.
Right.
Like I don't got to change Cosmo.
Right.
I could just go into these altars
clothes.
and have change clothes,
Just
right?
change clothes.
Just change clothes,
Right.
change my attitude, and embrace everybody.
Right. The many moods of Cosmo.
Right.
Because there's many moods of me. I
Right.
mean, mine are like spoiled, rotten brat, bitch. I have a moody one. I have a whole bunch of characters that live inside of me, but I'm only me.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
People
Right.
like, oh, you have so many personalities. Nope, they're my many moods.
Right,
The many
exactly.
moods.
And everybody has them. And it's good to embrace them,
It is, because you can't always be who everybody
No,
wants you
and
to be.
sometimes, you're on a low energy, and people are like, Cosmo, what's wrong with you? You're not entertaining. Well, it's okay to have a low fucking energy.
Well,
You
I
know
think
what
people
I mean?
in recovery as well, because of the fact of the addiction, we were always trying to meet that person, always trying to keep up that facade.
Right.
So there's those days where we don't want to do anything. You just want to be lax and be like,
But
I can't be on today.
But I thought there was something wrong. That it had to be on.
Right.
Or I was like really kind of down and depressed. But it's okay to have that middle ground.
Absolutely.
It's okay, you
yeah,
know?
meet in the middle. There's nothing wrong with the middle.
And then, like, if you're depressed, it's okay to lay on the couch and hug yourself.
Yes.
Give yourself one day.
So let me ask you,
Right.
did your addiction start because how did it form itself?
Basically, I think it was inherited.
Okay.
I think it was inherited.
Okay.
I think it had a big part of it. My mother was drinker.
Okay.
My father was cocaine.
Okay, yeah, well.
And I even think like he conceived me on cocaine.
Well,
It goes that
no, I
far.
firmly believe that it starts in the womb, whatever it is. You know, I learned that from somebody recently. But when you have two parents that are addicts, it's sometimes it's 50% or more of a chance that you end up with a child that's an addict.
Right.
I was very fortunate in that sense. My son did not become a addict. He went through his gambling bout, still addiction,
Right.
but not with the drugs and alcohol. And I'm
Right.
so grateful for it.
Yeah.
Being an addict, I wouldn't wish that on
Thank
anybody.
God.
Right.
Well, like my sister Sophia, my younger sister, who looks like you, she saw us. She would go to school in the morning, and she saw all of us hanging out in the morning at 8:00, still from the night before.
Okay.
You know those days.
Yeah.
The cocaine's still on the table.
Yep.
We're talking about this glass of water for 5 hours.
And there's somebody at the door looking through the window.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, my father didn't go for that shit. And because my father did cocaine, but like if you're in the mob,
Right.
and you act like that and you get paranoid,
They'll kill you.
they'll kill you.
Right.
Like if you're gonna do the coke, you better fucking handle it.
Right. And
So
don't let nobody know you're doing it.
Right.
Right.
You know, there was a time of that too.
Sure was.
Until they turned over when they seen how much money you can make with the cocaine, and then they started making money with the cocaine.
Absolutely.
But that's when everybody started ratting on each other, getting paranoid.
Yep.
When the cocaine came in, it kind of like. It was great. The beginning of it was Studio 54, and it was all glamorous. I don't know. Was your thing cocaine?
Mine was cocaine until it became Xanax. I was sexually assaulted at 37, and it changed my whole life. So that's where the Xanax came in for me. And I had to self-medicate to the numbness. Cocaine was more of champagne and cocaine, Renee. And then when the pills got involved, because my ex-husband had shattered my sacrum with his elbow. So it started with pain meds. And then after my sexual assault, it started with Xanax. But cocaine was always part of my story.
But in the beginning, wasn't it glamorous?
It was, and I say it like this, it was like the rich white girl drug. Like or the Italian girl, I don't know. I grew up only in my community and I only saw what I saw, but I know cocaine to be like the women that were using it were these like socialites, these rich white women. You know what I mean? And it was kind of like, oh, okay, I would like to snort cocaine now and be like one of them.
No, you know what? Same. I grew up like with the mob, okay? And then it's like these women, I would do their hair and their husbands were all like in the mob and we always get driven around like in a fucking Continental or a Cadillac Seville.
Yep.
And I would hang out with their kids and I would do their hair.
Right.
These women were so glamorous. They were like the mob wives before you guys.
Yeah, no,
they paved the way. You know those women, right?
My mother was one of them.
Gorgeous.
Absolutely.
And and then here we are, we're doing coke together. You know what I mean?
Oh, wow.
So some did, some didn't.
Yeah, my mother was like the Virgin Mary. We still can't figure out how she has kids.
Yeah.
We still. The Immaculate Conception Part 2, the
Right.
sequel. That's my mother.
Right.
Can't figure it out yet.
Or the milkman, even one or the other.
The milkman would have been slaughtered, so it definitely wasn't the fucking milkman.
Yeah, so it was glamour in those days.
Yes.
So it started off as a big party.
Right.
Who knew people were going to get like laboratory rats and get so fucking addicted to go back and forth to the dealer?
Yep.
I'm sure you saw people like that.
Yeah, I did.
You know,
See,
you say you weren't really like that? Like you would party?
I was, back then, like the 17 to maybe 20, it was more like no more than like a $50 bag maybe 100 at times, but never like
Eight
I didn't
balls.
stay out at night. No 8 balls for me. I had to be home at 2, which meant I had to be in the house at 10 to 2.
Right.
So it was very strict, but I was still able to do my little champagne and cocaine.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It progressed
Yes.
tremendously when I probably got engaged to my ex-husband, who was a big partier. And it stayed with me. But the most cocaine I think I've ever done, and this is a true story, and people could say I'm a liar, I really don't give a shit, but was $100. Like when it was done, it was over. And although I wasn't falling asleep right away, that was the limit.
Right.
And so that really wasn't my problem. The Xanax.
That got you.
Oh, that took me over. The pain meds at first.
So that took you out. Yeah.
Destroyed me.
Yeah.
Destroyed me.
Right.
And then, up until recently, 9 months.
What do they say? You find your poison.
Yep.
Pick your poison.
Pick your poison. Yep.
So me too. It was the cocaine. It was the glamorous life. Then my father, when you're in the mob, it's taboo to do cocaine. But then everybody started doing cocaine, playing cards in the Bronx, and for 9 days.
Right.
My father would come home.
So how'd your father feel about the fact that you were gay?
Well, like your father's the first one to know.
Okay. Right.
Right. Do the math.
Right.
I'm
right.
following him in the bathroom.
Right.
When my twin brother's playing baseball.
Right.
He comes home. I have a towel on my head.
Okay, so he knew.
Your father's the first one to know. My mother was so afraid to tell him.
Yeah,
you
but
know,
I
and like
understand.
my best friend told I thought my mother would know because I'm wearing no hair.
Right.
I'm in love with Donnie Osmond. So when I'm 14 years old, my best friend tells him, Cosmo's got a boyfriend. Tells my mother. She goes, what?
So she never picked up on it?
She was in denial.
Yeah, okay.
So she goes, what do you
absolutely.
mean he's got a boyfriend? And she starts crying like, Ma, I'm fucking wearing your wigs and fucking your dresses and your high heels.
And I'm a hairdresser.
So, and then my best friend told my father,
Oh.
and he goes, I know, we knew. I knew when Cosmo was a baby.
Wow.
So your father, especially if he's in the mob, he knows
Right.
the kids,
Right.
Right,
so he wasn't upset or
it's
mad.
no surprise.
Okay,
No
so
surprise.
but that's great for you that you never had to go through like
No.
what I mentioned about my cousin Anthony, where the men would just be like you were shamed on tremendously.
Yeah.
That is wonderful to hear that your father was very.
No, but I grew up with that shame too, though, because the Catholic religion gives you that shame.
well,
you can't be gay, this and that.
Right.
And then I did get the beating. That my father, when I was younger, because I remember in Harlem, my brother Tommy, my older brother, was playing basketball, and then I walk in the basketball court, and I'm like, Tommy, and I really love my brother, and I was like, Tommy, look at me run, and he goes, yeah, I embarrassed him. So he goes home and tells my father, Cosmo embarrassed me. He's acting like a faggot on purpose. But that's how I was. I was just like, look at me, Tommy, I'm running, like a girl, and I wasn't doing it to fuck him up.
Right.
So he called my father in Harlem. And then my father, I would never forget, like in Harlem, we had the French doors. And literally my head went through the French doors. Like my father gave me that beating. He goes, I have to do this. Because that's the way he grew up.
Right.
This is the time where I got to try to scare my kid into being straight. It's gonna hurt me more than it hurts Cosmo.
Correct.
But I got a beating.
Right. I'm
and
sorry.
Renee, that was like the first time and last time he ever hit me.
Okay.
And I could tell it hurted him more than it hurted me.
Yeah.
And then I walked out of that fucking room like this, girl. Could I walk for y'all?
Good.
I walked out of that room like that. Mommy. Mommy, yeah. That's it.
So he wasn't knocking the gay out of you.
Done, girl. Nobody could. You know what I mean? It's like I was born that way, and he knew it.
Right.
So then after that, he always felt bad about that. So so my mother was afraid to tell my father all these years that I'm playing with Barbies and all that, because every time he came home, we had to like hide the Barbies.
Okay.
So thank God for my grandmother, my mother's mother, who would buy me that Barbie head, because they knew it made me happy.
Right.
And they bought me the makeup.
Right.
And they bought me Barbie, and they let me play with Barbie, and my aunts let me do their makeup, from Harlem,
Right.
So, and they all loved it. But when my father came home, they had that stigma, because he was such a tough man's man.
Right.
Like, hide the Barbie dolls.
Yeah.
Hide this, hide that. Like,
Right.
not to like disrespect him.
Right. That's hard. You're living like a double life. Even as a small child, you had to live a double life.
Yeah, it was really.
So that in itself is
so
very
that
traumatic.
fucks with you.
Of course, it's extremely traumatic.
You know, it fucks with you. And you know what? Like, even your cousin, like, I feel bad for him.
Yeah.
Because getting beat up by his brothers.
Yeah.
Then it's so weird how you look for men that are abusive.
Oh, that's a real fucking thing.
Is that
Let
a
me tell you,
fact?
I never got hit at all in my household, but my first boyfriend was abusive. And every relationship I entered after that was based on what I knew from my first relationship.
Right, because you go after the same man.
Right, because I have a type.
Right.
A tough guy. And not saying that every man that's tough hits a woman. I'm just saying for me, I attracted what I put out there.
Exactly.
And my insecurities really were detrimental to my relationships.
Yeah.
So continue.
Well, be careful what you pray for, you know. But I want to tell you, Renee, that you're sober now, and I'm so happy to see you sober.
Thank you.
And like, it gets better.
I know.
You know,
I know
it gets
will.
better.
I know it will.
And you like, I got to kiss a few frogs.
Absolutely.
You know, and every one of them that I kissed, I'm friends with today.
That's amazing.
Because nobody really like hurt me. You know what I mean?
Oh, God
it was
bless.
just relationship hurt. Like I caught him in the strip club. And,
Right.
You know, the normal, you know.
So,
but I'm still friends with them. But now, like every guy I meet now sober, it is better.
Right.
Because you get honest.
Well, you need to be honest.
Right.
You know what I mean? We're no longer living this facade,
Right.
with this facade that we, for me, it wasn't about, I always had to be who my father wanted me to be. So I always had to represent him that I didn't know how to represent myself.
Right.
Do you know what I mean?
Right,
so
right.
I know that you understand that because we had this family
The
life.
stigma.
This
Right.
stigma. I was always
And I was the egomaniac. I was like, how dare you hurt me? I'm the queen. Don't you know who I am? You're going to cheat on me?
Oh, my
but
God.
it really devastated me, too.
Sure. That statement,
to the point
do you
where
know who I am?
Right.
That's my fucking statement.
That's how we grew up, girl.
Yep.
Like, Renee was the shit, and she knew she was the fucking shit.
then I
and nobody could
was.
tell her she wasn't. You know, and so we found out that we really wasn't. You know what I mean? Like, we're just like another girl next door. You know what I mean?
Right.
But, but in our head, we were like, how dare you? I'll have you killed. But it's the men that we picked,
Yes.
you know?
Yes.
And I also had, a few bad relationships, you know?
I mean, I'm not devastated anymore. The last person that I got involved with, he was sleeping with men and women. And that really took me off my feet because I want a straight man. I'm a straight woman. I want a straight man. And I'm not saying to each his own, but for me, I want a straight man. And I'm not, and I feel like nowadays people aren't entitled to, the sex thing is crazy in this world. It really is. Like all of a sudden, a lot of straight men are venturing out. And that makes me wonder.
So you know my twin brother Joe?
Yeah.
He said they're putting it in the food.
It's in the water.
So my brother, he's from Harlem.
Yes.
He goes, they're putting it in the food because even I'm looking sometimes. You know what I'm saying? And it just cracks me up. But you know what? Okay, there's no institution of relationships. It's really hard to find. Like, when we grew up, like you went to Catholic school at 23, you were married, 26, you had kids. And then at 29, you had a house in Long Island or you moved to Florida. That was like the dream.
Right, yeah. Well,
that dream never happened for me, girl. Never happened. I wanted it to happen, but it became a motherfucking nightmare.
Okay, but it's not over yet.
No. Now I still want to have that wedding.
I'm sure.
And
Yeah.
I really still want to go to Harlem and have that wedding with bridesmaids.
I love it.
Would you be one of my bridesmaids?
Fuck yeah! Yeah!
Oh, I still have that dream.
Well, I believe that your dream can happen.
Yeah. It's going to happen.
So, okay, so your father gave you one beating. He never hit you again after that. And then, when did you move out here? So
Okay.
you were in New York until what age?
I'm in Harlem. And then
It's funny, I said New York and you said Harlem, and I forget that we all claim our area. I'll be like, no, I'm from Staten Island. Like, you're from New York? No, I'm from Staten Island, right? Yeah, that's funny. You just did that.
Yeah.
Okay, so you were up in Harlem.
Right. Because we're proud. You know, you're from Staten
Extremely.
Island.
Exactly.
You're fucking
You
proud.
were from
Are you
fucking
kidding
Pleasant.
me? I'm
That's
from
the
Pleasant
best
Avenue
place
over
to-
here. Come on.
That's the best place to be from.
Some Rayo's and fucking
Yes.
Patsy's Pizza on First Avenue.
Absolutely. Right to the Bronx.
I'm so proud of it, you know,
Yep.
where I'm from. And like, I wouldn't change a day.
Right.
I wouldn't change a day.
Right.
You know, when I got to be a teenager, those I would change a little
So
bit.
is that when the addiction came? So how did the addiction?
My addiction was
surface?
always fantasy first. You
Okay,
know, I would go
okay.
in the closet and dress up and I would isolate.
Right.
And I would be with my little tape recorder. Remember the tape recorders?
Yes.
And I would always be myself. And it would just be fantasy. I always wanted to escape my world.
I love that you said that because I don't believe addiction starts with drugs.
No.
At all.
No. What was your thing as a kid? Were you like
I was just
obsessed with something?
creator. I wanted to
Yeah.
be. I was always putting on a show.
Yeah.
I was always entertaining my parents' guests. I literally would charge for my garage show, and I would dress up my sister Jennifer and my cousin Alexis,
Yeah.
and we would put on a real show, like
Yeah.
with intermission and everything.
Yeah.
So that was me.
Yeah.
And it was escapism.
Yeah, you know, in the beginning, I gotta say, it was just like to a fault where I just wanted to hide and I didn't want to be in my own skin.
Right.
So I always wanted to be somebody else. So I would put on the act, and my mother would say, "I'm sure your mother and grandmother would say the same thing. You need to be in Hollywood."
My mother said from the age
Same
of 3, I
thing.
was dancing on coffee tables, and she said, "You're going to be something like that."
Exactly.
My parents knew it
And
about
they were
me.
right, because look at us now, though.
Exactly.
You know,
Hey,
girl.
shout out to mom right now. Yeah, she always said it.
Yeah. And I love that about you, that you were entertaining as a child. Me too. But I would just be in the closet doing it by myself. I remember going to Rockaway Beach and I was on a ride and I was so flamboyant, girl. I was
Okay.
never in, girl.
I was gonna
You couldn't
ask.
hide it. I was shaking my ass all over the place, girl. I went to the worst schools in New York City, you know,
Right.
where they would like rape the teachers
Ooh.
and turn over the principal's car and just beat the teachers up. And
Okay.
there I was, hi.
Hi. Hey.
Shaking my little ass, though.
Right.
So I really had to fight my way to the top, too. You know what
Okay.
I mean? I had, like, you
Right.
learn how to. I used to dance, you
Right.
know? So basically, I hung out with my thing was the black girls. My mother was like, you're playing double dutch, you're braiding your hair, bitch, you're bringing all these girls home for lunch. I only have enough sloppy joes, you know what I mean? And like, I would just think that I would play hula hoop. I would just double dutch. Remember double dutch?
Yeah, I never learned how.
Yeah,
I never learned.
and dance, you know?
Right.
So honestly, and she's like, oh my God, you're bringing all these kids home and everything like that. But like, I always wanted to be somebody else. I
Yes.
never wanted to be me. Because
Absolutely.
at that point, they were calling me, you know, my brother's friends,
Yeah.
faggot.
Yeah, that was the word
And it
back
still
then.
hurt, even though I knew I was, but they
Right.
would be so hateful.
Because the way it was said was so harsh. And I know that that word, I don't really hear that word nowadays anymore. But when I do hear it, it kind of like,
Yeah.
I tense up a little bit because it's such a harsh word.
Yeah.
Because there's like, me having like a visual memory, there's like a whole act that goes with that. And I think a lot of people have that in their brain.
Yeah,
You know what
especially
I mean?
you loving your cousin. You probably
Yeah.
seen what he went through.
Yeah,
but there's
well,
a lot.
he was much
like,
older, but it was the fact that he was very gay.
Yeah.
Anthony was very
right.
gay.
So you know,
And
so
loving,
I was cool. Like I strategized myself to be like cool and respected, and I was always the cool kid, right?
Right.
So the neighborhood always loved me. Like the mob goes, oh, your kid knows how to dance. Oh wow, he's a great hairdresser. You know, so I got
Right.
respected. I was doing all the mob wives for real. Their
Right,
hair.
right.
Everybody was walking around like Farrah Fawcett.
Right.
So I was like getting driven around, you know.
Yep. Oh, I
But
know.
the other, if I didn't bring that kind of like stigma to myself,
Right.
thank God I was cool enough to do that, girl.
Right.
You know, but it was like faggot. And I remember going to Rockaway Beach one day, and this kid was calling me a faggot, and I was on a ride with my sister. And we're just going around and around and around.
Right.
And I remember somebody just punching me in the arm. It was like just punching me and calling me faggot.
Oh, that's terrible.
So I was trying to get them to stop the ride. It was so devastating to me how like I was getting like queer bashed.
Yeah.
You know, I was getting gay bashed.
Yeah. It was very much alive back then.
It was bad, girl.
Not like today. It's not, you don't see it as much
no,
today.
it's still there though.
I'm sure it is. But back then,
it was bad
because it was more. Nobody really was out back then. It was such a secret, to live this secret life. It's only normal that addiction followed.
Yeah.
You know what I
girl,
mean?
I wanted to hide. You know.
Yeah,
I wanted to hide, but you know, it's like. You know, thank God I developed, like I had the neighborhood and the wise guys and everybody had my back. But like for a while there, I was like, I'm going to fuck girls. So they stopped calling me faggot. Because I got all you girls. You were all like, Cosmo, I love your hair. Could you do my hair?
Right.
You know, could you fuck me on the side? You know what I mean?
What? Okay, so you slept, you've been with
So I went out with a few girls.
Okay.
Yeah, girl.
Okay.
Girl, Renee, I'm gay, but I would hit that girl.
I love it. I love it.
So anyway, I had these hot girls, you know, Puerto Rican girls. And then when I would get them in bed, girl, I was like, I don't really like this. You know what I mean?
Wow.
And so I got my first boyfriend in New York, you know. But what I'm saying is...
Was he gay?
No.
So he was pretending to be straight?
Yes.
But he was gay?
He was an athlete. We played sports every day.
Okay.
I can't really mention names right now.
I don't want you to mention
because
anybody. Nope, we don't.
I'm still friends with everybody. It's crazy, but I could never.
That's none of my business, and I'm not here to hurt nobody's life.
So I did try to play the straight role, but it's like, it didn't work, girl. You know what I mean?
Right.
So, and I got more respect when I came out and said, I'm fucking gay. This is me.
Right.
I'm gay. Because when they knew when I was trying to like sabotage it, trying to hide it, you know, with all the girls and stuff like that. The girls knew, you know?
Right.
Basically, so, and then when you're trying to hide something, people know you're not being authentic and they know you're trying to hide it, right?
Right.
So basically, it didn't work out for me. You know, I didn't feel good about myself that I had to pretend I was straight. And these poor girls, like, you know what I mean? Like one slit her wrist in the shape of a C for Cosmo because I broke her heart because she caught me with the... You know what I mean?
Oh my God.
So I came back out. I was like, I'm gay. I'm a big fag. Whoever has a problem with it, fucking let me know. You know what I mean?
Right.
And then from then on, I was like, but I already had I was already like getting addicted to cocaine at that time.
Okay. So what was that age group? What was your age?
I gotta say, when I was like 12 or 13, my brother found my father's coke. And the car in the suit pocket. And then my brother was taking his Continental when he was sleeping, my father. So we all went to the park, I remember. And I was going to hairdressing school.
Right.
And
what was it, Barbizon?
No, it was Concord.
Concord. I remember they only had a few different names.
Yeah.
Concord. My sister Lana did Concord. Oh my God.
On Steinway Street in New York. Yeah.
Oh my God.
But they were all over the place.
Like, yeah, I remember. It was Barbizon, right? Was the
it
other
was
name?
primitive, girl.
Yes,
It was so
I remember
primitive.
she had that blue box that had the head in it, and I would take the head out and cut the fucking hair all the time. I was always in trouble.
Yeah,
but
girl.
I'm
Their
sorry.
instructors were like 90 years old.
Yes.
And we had to learn like C curls and fucking finger waves and shit that we never did, right?
Yep.
But anyway, so we take the car to we go to Rainy Park, right? And it was in Astoria. And my brother takes out the cocaine. So all the guys are like, oh shit, yeah, cocaine. And I saw them all doing cocaine and I went, give me that cocaine. And I went, I said, don't do this. This is bad. Right? I was the only one who said, don't do it. First of all, they were pissed off at me.
I'm sure.
Second of all, I became the biggest fucking crackhead you ever seen after that.
Oh, okay. So
I was against cocaine.
Went from no cocaine, but you smoked crack.
No. I went from no cocaine and no drugs.
Okay.
I was 17 in beauty school.
Right.
Got my beauty coach's license. I'm going to live nice. I'm not going to be a drug addict. You know, I'm going to be a rich hairdresser.
Right.
So, cut to me doing cocaine more than them. You know what I mean?
Right,
Like I became a degenerate cokehead.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
And how that started, it was like in the clubs. I was dancing.
Yep.
Then you go in the bathroom with the matchbook cover. You do cocaine.
And back then, cocaine was the drug.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? In the Goodfella era.
Right.
That's how I always say it's the Goodfella era. So I grew up with, the part like The guys that I stayed with, they didn't party. Maybe one or two of them did, but I was usually the only girl that partied.
Right. Back then, you can't do cocaine.
Right.
Remember that? That was taboo.
Yes, it was.
Until they found out they changed it. Because
Yeah.
you could make so much money
and
on
then
cocaine.
you started using it.
Then you start using it,
Yep.
they were getting paranoid and they were killing each other.
Yes, yes.
You know? And I experienced that too. It's hardcore.
Yeah, I've never experienced
Because their
that.
karma... I'm not saying mob. I'm just saying any
bad guys.
Any bad,
My ex-husband.
The bad guys in New York.
My ex-husband definitely
their
was the
karma
paranoid type.
from like
What
whatever
they've
they
done.
did.
Correct.
And then right away they think that you're trying to kill them.
How old were you?
I must have been like 23.
Okay.
23.
Okay, so your addiction was more towards your 20s, right?
Well, you're bad.
Right. So it was
Bad.
okay.
But it was still glamorous, though. I was still on the clubs. I met him in after hours. Everybody would go to after hours.
Yep.
Do you remember there was an after hours? Remember the Ethan Allen's? It was the furniture store.
Where?
It was on Astoria Boulevard.
I didn't go to Queens.
Okay.
So I'm 55. So the furthest I went was Brooklyn. I remember the first time I did go to Queens, I got caught. It was actually true story. It was one of the Gotti's son's like hangout spot. It was called place called Characters. And there was a guy, you know, Jimmy Burke was, right?
Yeah.
From Goodfellas.
Yes.
So Jimmy Burke's son, Jimmy, was there and he kept saying, "Oh my God, you look just like my sister." And his sister really, her and I, it was so bizarre how much we look like, just like yours.
You look like everybody's sister over here.
And I remember getting that phone call and be like, "Renee, there's a phone call for you." And I'm like, who the fuck would be calling? Nobody, get out of there now. Like in seconds. I always got found out. So Brooklyn was the furthest.
You were monitored. Like people were like,
Yeah.
don't make sure she don't get out of line.
Exactly.
I'll fucking have your legs broken.
Most definitely.
They looked after you.
Yeah.
But I was Cosmo's kid. You know what I mean? So basically, and I'm a boy.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I had to go venture.
Right.
So we would go to, and there was another one by the BQE, and this club was in Goodfellas.
The Copacabana.
No, not the
That
Copacabana.
was right.
This was in Queens.
In Queens.
The executive suite.
I don't know about it.
Oh my God! So it was all mob hangout.
Really?
Yeah.
I wish
So
it
here
still
I am.
was.
I'm young, right? I'm
Right.
dancing to like the cover girls, and I'm doing the WAP. Remember the WAP girl?
Yep.
I'm doing the WAP girl.
Yep.
Thinking I'm the extreme shit, okay?
Right.
I remember there was a leg contest, right? So I wore these shorts, these boxer shorts, and there was all these girls from Queens in the leg contest.
I love this.
And girl, I got up there and I started doing the WAP girl in these fucking short shorts, and I won the leg contest, queen.
Yes.
And they gave me champagne. So I was the shit no matter
Right.
where. Like, you see me now on Melrose. That's why they call me the Queen of Melrose.
Right.
Well, I was that when I cut hair in New York.
You were
I was
forever
that,
the queen.
You as well.
Yes.
You were always that. You were always that bitch.
Yes.
Okay.
100%.
So, and I wear the name proudly. I do.
You should.
Because we earned it, girl.
Most definitely.
Yes.
I
yes.
have been through so many trials and tribulations.
Girl.
And trials, I mean on fucking in court trials.
Right.
That I feel at this point, anything and everything I've ever done that was wrong, it is a wash at this point.
Yeah.
It's a wash.
No, you got to forgive yourself. You have to forgive yourself.
I still struggle with this one tremendously because I'll get...
You have tremendous guilt.
Yeah, because certain things will pop into my head that I did that were wrong, and it will stay up there. I can't get it out of my thought process for the day. Like, so, partying before I knew I was pregnant, but I was pregnant. Like, so I didn't find out until I was 4 months that I was pregnant because I had my period my whole pregnancy. So I was partying like here and there in the beginning. Something like that will stay in my brain. And it shouldn't. My son is healthy. My son is great. But it'll go back to like, oh my God, what were you thinking? Well, Renee, you weren't thinking because you didn't even know you were pregnant. That's
Right.
the reality of it. But it still will fluctuate in my brain.
Yeah.
And I've never even
Well,
said
I
that
call
out
that
loud.
the
Wow.
disease. I
Yeah.
call that the
It
disease.
talks to me. It
It doesn't go away.
No.
It wakes up earlier than we do.
Sure does.
That's why we got to do the work.
Yeah, and it also wakes you up in the middle of the night on occasion.
Yeah, no, it
the
fucks you
work
up.
the work is very necessary. And what I just said, I don't ever talk about that type of stuff because of my son. Like, I don't ever want my son to be embarrassed of his mom. But I think there's a lot of people out there that can relate to. They have partied when they've been pregnant, or
Look at our mothers. My mother was smoking cigarettes. It was okay to smoke cigarettes when you were pregnant.
Smoke,
she didn't.
or do drugs. No.
See, that's like that. My answer.
I'm telling you, the Immaculate Conception fucking part 2, the sequel. My mother really was pure.
Yeah, I have an aunt like that.
Oh my Jesus.
Don't drink.
Yep.
In church. Like everything, whatever. I don't know how she got fucking pregnant because she's also
like the holy lady,
kind of a wise guy,
Right.
Not really. He's a hardworking businessman in the Bronx, though.
Right.
But she grew up like we did,
right?
But it's like my sister who didn't do drugs because she saw us all. She's like, "You got to be fucking crazy if I'm going to talk about this fucking glass of water for 5 hours
and wonder who's coming to the house next."
Right? What helicopters come? Yeah. So she saw that,
Right.
But and we do have guilt, and but we don't now. But we have a program today.
We do have a program, and it's really important that people know.
People don't know. Like the celebrities, honestly, there's nobody that's spiritually advised. Like the Disney kids, like it should come with a 12-step program. Because you know what? If you don't have a spiritual or a 12-step program, you're either going to be Amanda Bynes, who's still walking downtown LA naked as of like last year. She lost her fucking mind.
I know.
Or like your Britney dancing with knives. I mean, really now.
Wait, she was dancing with knives?
Yeah.
Why?
Because.
Why knives?
I don't know. That's the question.
Yeah.
That's the question.
I feel terrible.
Because you know how she's spinning and spinning and spinning and spinning.
Yeah, but
that's not normal. How many times can you spin?
I feel so bad for Amanda Bynes. I have been watching her TikTok page, and I think she's medicated now. But she's got that heart on her pretty face with the eyebrows, and it breaks my heart because those children. We all know that it's true. We just don't know who did what, but they were assaulted.
It's all coming out in the wash right now. Whatever don't come out in the rinse comes out in the wash.
Whatever doesn't come out in the wash comes out in the rinse.
The rinse, exactly.
That is a fucking fact.
That's an old one. Remember that one?
I had a T-shirt that said that on Mob Wives. That's how I know. We need to bring awareness to those children that suffered. And
we really do, and you know what?
Addiction.
And everything that you're shy about and all that stuff, you're gonna help when you talk the truth about, like you just did. You're gonna help so many people with that truth. Because that's your fucking truth.
That's my prerogative.
That's your truth. And you know what? My truth is like, yeah, I grew up gay. Yes, I became a crackhead. Yes, I'm on Cops. Did you know I was on the show Cops?
No.
The first episode of Cops. Who do they come for?
What the fuck did you do?
They found me.
What did you?
I was buying drugs downtown. And all of a sudden I'm doing drugs. I'm with 3 guys, we fucking have crack pipes in our hands or whatever. And then all of a sudden somebody said, turn around. And I turned around and it was the lights, cameras, and the action. It was the first episode of
my God,
Cops.
I so gotta... Everybody, I highly recommend you Googling the first episode of Cops with Cosmo.
We just found it. Because it was under police lock. So I do reality shows. We wanted to get the episode. We could never. Now somebody just sent me the episode a few weeks ago.
I love it.
So it's out there. They all know.
So addiction was a huge part of your life. Until what age?
Girl, I got sober. I'm 8 years sober.
Congratulations.
I'm 8 years sober.
You're 8 years sober.
So 8 years ago, it had me by the balls. Still.
Okay. Still.
And it was like, and I went to a few rehabs. It was getting better.
Right.
But still my relapses were like suicidal.
Because they say you can get better, but the usage will become a smaller amount of time, but much more drastic.
Right.
You'll use more.
Right. So the disease gets progressive,
It sure fucking does.
So it just got really bad. And so something really bad happened because they said, you keep on touching the stove, you're going to get fucking burned.
Eventually, that's
and so something happened. They said eventually either something's going to happen where you're going to get sober or you're going to just die.
Right.
It's jails, institutions, and deaths.
Yep.
Right.
Absolutely.
So I already went to jails. I already did a few institutions. Have you?
May 10.
A few vacations.
10.
Girl? Oh yeah.
I got in trouble legally once. And then between detox and treatment, there's 10 there. And I've OD'd, I think 3 times, 4 times. So I've been dead.
Yeah.
So I've been dead. I've done them all. And I'm not ashamed to say it any longer because I was killing myself slowly but surely because I never used with people. Like when I was young, a teen, like in my teens and stuff, the girls all partied. You know, I had all the money, I had the car, everybody partied. Once I met my son's father or whatever, I partied with him. But after that was done, none of my friends used drugs, so I partied by myself. And then once the Xanax came into play, I was always alone.
Yeah.
Always alone.
Well, that's what the disease wants you, alone and dead.
That's right.
You know,
and that's where I was.
And I would be alone in the closet, you know, smoking crack by myself. And I'm talking $10,000 worth of crack, okay? And I would just go through it. And I would be, it just like, it had me like Richard Pryor, like I would be able to go on fire, you know what I mean? From the ether, I was trying to cook it. It was like incomprehensible demoralization.
Oh my God, that's what they talk about.
Yeah,
yes.
That's the book.
That's the book. So I'm glad that you know about the book. A lot of people are saying, I'm sober, but they don't work a program. So I've done my steps 3 times. And it's so good. Like, I never followed the book. I like the NA program better than the AA program, but I got into the AA program when I went to a treatment center out in Texas. And there really is no difference.
No,
you know what I mean?
No.
I just don't say, like, when I go to
the language is a little different, but it's all the 12 steps to Alcoholics Anonymous.
Right. And I think the 12 steps are super important for people that don't even use drugs because it makes sense to anybody's life. It's not just about addicts and alcoholics. You know,
we are so on the same page. They need to teach those 12 steps in school.
Those steps are really important.
Yes.
Because it's not about just, you know,
it's getting closer to God.
Yes.
Releasing, like when you're doing the steps, it's like you're shoveling all that shit out.
Yeah.
All that stuff that's inside that's making people angry.
Yes.
That's making people depressed.
Yep.
You're so right about that.
The principles. There's honesty, hope, faith, courage, integrity. I mean, willingness, awareness of God, perseverance, brotherly love. Did I just fucking spit them all out? Hey.
Go, girl.
But it's the truth. Those words are for everyone. For everybody.
You know, I finally met a sponsor because I went through a lot of sponsors, and they become my best friends.
Absolutely.
And when you start borrowing each other's shoes and wigs, they're not your sponsor because your sponsor is really not your friend.
That's supposed to be your friend, right?
You know?
It's supposed to be your confidant.
But how you're not going to fall in love with us, right?
Right.
You know, your sponsor. How could you not love Renee? But it's really a business deal. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So this sponsor, who I want to bring on your show, I want you to meet her.
Absolutely,
She
I love it.
literally does exorcisms. Like literally does exorcisms.
Oh, I can't wait.
And she teaches meditation.
Okay.
You know, and she's also a life coach.
I believe it or not, I am a life coach.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes, I am.
So you would learn. She would mentor you.
I would love it
because the meditation part and the stuff that you just share that you feel guilty about. You won't feel guilty anymore.
Oh, I would love to
because you
meet
know
her.
what? She has me doing the steps every day.
Okay.
She goes, because you can't stay clean on a shower you took yesterday.
Ooh, I love it.
She goes, because the disease, when you wake up the next morning, it's going to be like this anyway.
Yeah.
So she has me, when in the morning, she goes, put the pen to paper.
Okay.
And I was like, really, bitch? Put the pen to paper.
Right.
She goes, and do an inventory, all your fears.
Okay.
And you think you don't have one fear? Once you fucking hit that thing, we're afraid of this. We're afraid of that. I'm afraid of dying. I'm afraid of that. Your deepest, darkest resentments and fears, you put on paper.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm going to set it on fire when I'm done with it.
Yeah. It's all in the book. Okay. Right. And then I have to read it to her.
Okay.
Okay. And then we do the removal part. God, thank you for revealing and removing these fears.
The 9th step, right?
I pray only for the will. Wait, God, your will for us, and the power to carry that out.
I love it.
And you release it.
Yeah.
Because the fears are like the monster's not under the bed anymore.
No, I know. It's in your head.
It's in our head.
It's in your
head.
We
have to treat our That's how we treat
Yep.
it. Then she taught me how to meditate. Did you ever take medication?
I can't meditate for shit.
I said the same shit. See, me and you are birds of a feather.
I get worried about closing my eyes because of the abuse for me.
Yeah.
So one of my huge fears is being murdered.
Yeah.
And when I close my eyes, I get scared.
Yeah.
Like what happens if that's like when I take a shower. If there's a curtain in the house, I actually leave it open. I will shower against the wall like this, just so my son will be like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, he's like, "The shower curtain isn't wet. Did you take a shower?" And I'm like, "Yeah, but I gotta leave it open because I'm afraid if somebody comes." It's just crazy fear
You
of.
probably saw the movie Psycho a little bit too much.
I was married to the
What
psycho.
the mother was like, yeah.
I was married to him, and that's what scares the fuck out of me.
Yeah.
He put some, not as much anymore, but he traumatized me because his intentions were to hurt me severely. And he did do that. So for me, it's kind of that trigger. I'm getting better though. I'm getting really good.
You have trauma.
Yeah.
We all have trauma.
Yeah, so wherever I live,
Mine's got
they
better.
gotta be
I have
glass doors.
8 years, so it's getting better.
Right.
You know what I mean? You have
9 months. No,
You have 9 months.
Today.
Okay, so no wonder you're scared of the fucking shower. I'll take a shower with you later. Don't worry, I'll hold you in.
So it's getting better though. I must say, I'm definitely more on the healing side than I am on the addiction right now. Addiction's always going to be there, but I'm more focusing on the healing.
But it really goes hand in hand.
It
You know
does.
this.
Of course.
Like the healing and writing that fear list in the morning.
Okay.
Because our head, like I know me in the morning, if I go to the table and have a few cigarettes and coffee, my head's going to be doing 110, right?
Yep.
But if I put the pen to paper and I have the cigarette and coffee right there and I'm writing down all my fears,
right,
and then I'm telling her about them, okay, and I'm calling her and I'm making a confession,
right,
7, 8, 9, right?
Yep. I love
Renee,
that you work a program.
But a lot of people don't do AA like that.
No, they
work the
don't.
steps once a year.
Yep.
No, you got to work these steps every day.
It's a daily reprieve.
And then by 5 o'clock, she's like, "Watch, Cosmo. Your nerves are going to come back. The disease is going to be like this on you again."
Right.
She goes, "So I want you to go back in the back of your fucking store, get a pen, and do it again."
Oh, wow.
And then meditating's harder for me, but you can actually meditate with your eyes open.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But this is the only way.
I'll meditate if like my mother's in the house
but this
or
is
whatever.
what Dr. Bob and Bill said to do.
Yeah.
But so many people are not doing it.
No.
That's why the success with AA, I think, is only 2%.
Yep.
Because nobody, A, I don't think is doing it the right way.
Yep.
And then B, it's so old and primitive
that they
need me, Cosmo and Renee now.
Yeah. Well, hey.
To fucking shake it up a little bit.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Come recover with Cosmo and Renee.
Exactly. And then we could be what?
We could
be queen and sober.
Yes, queen and sober, bitches.
You know
what we need? You know what we really need? We need a recovery house called the Queen and Sober.
Girl.
I would love to do a recovery house.
That's on the agenda, girl, honestly, because we have to give back, right?
I would love to have a place.
And then we just got to make it fun.
Yes.
We have to make it fun.
Where the girls have outings.
Right.
They help people
They
get
have
jobs.
nail day, girl.
Yes.
They have wig styling day, girl.
I think I always wanted a recovery home.
Yeah.
A recovery house. Always.
Yeah.
And California, it's so big. We should really.
It's huge.
Yep.
Well, we're going to talk about a lot of things.
Absolutely.
We're going to talk about a lot of things.
Because we definitely, the relationship has been formed between the two of us. I love that you work a program.
That's why I want you to meet my sponsor.
I would love to,
because
yeah.
she has so much wisdom,
Right.
And she really I'm a hard case bitch. I'm a hard case.
Right.
Like if you tell me yellow, I'm going to tell you it's black, bitch, and I'll have you believe it's black, and
right.
you're going to give me a credit card and buy it. So I'm a hard case. That's why it took me all these years to get sober.
Right.
But that's why God put her in front of me, because she's like, okay. Are you doing it this way? Are you doing the steps every day? Are you praying? Are you meditating, Cosmo? And you literally levitate to like another, like when I'm finished with like a session with my sponsor, literally, I'm on a different planet.
So
drug.
Right.
No fucking drug.
To take you where you go.
Did you ever experience that?
Yes, with breathing. breath work.
Breath work.
Breath work will take you somewhere.
You guys got to come to our rehab. We're going to have all these things.
Absolutely.
Lap dances and breath work. Yes.
What I loved, I started doing plant medicine. So back in April, I did ibogaine. I went to Mexico for it.
What is that?
So ibogaine iboga is a plant that grows in the jungle. That's the only place you could get this plant. It's not legal in America yet, but the recovery rate on it is like they wouldn't allow it.
I think I heard.
They're not going to allow it to be in this country.
Yeah, exactly.
Because there's a cure with it.
Right, and the Food and Drug Administration.
So when I was there, people were coming in. Shout out to Beyond for all you've done for me. It's a place in Cancun, Mexico. Everybody needs to go. But people were coming in that were kicking dope and drugs, and they were using this process, and they weren't going through the withdrawal that you see here in America. So I know it definitely works. I did about, unfortunately for me, there's a very small percentage that don't get the, because you see the visions and stuff. I was one of those cases. So I did try DMT afterwards. So you know what, Cosmo, since you do work the steps, I'd like to ask you if you would be my sponsor, because I don't have one right now.
Oh my God, you don't?
I don't have a sponsor, no.
I would be honored to be a sponsor.
Yes.
I would be honored.
And I will work the program that you teach me.
Yes, I would love that. I would love that. Nothing means more to me, you know? And that means nothing from the head up.
Right.
I don't even take a fucking aspirin.
Oh, okay. Well, I take head meds.
We'll talk.
Okay, we'll
it's
talk.
Fine. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, because
I totally believe.
I need those head meds. Trust me.
Yeah. I get it.
Yes, I believe that if I had you on my team, that I will definitely be able to work this program and achieve that happiness that I so desperately want and that peace that I desperately want. So with that being said, I want to say thank you very much for coming on the Crysis Queen podcast, for sharing your story, your strength, your hope, and possibilities are endless when you have good friends, family, and a higher power. For the people that don't believe in God, it's God for me. Thank you for joining us with another episode of the Crysis Queen, and I will see you next week. Remember, I'm not here to make light of your trauma, but to make your trauma feel lighter. Thank you for watching.